Here we are, ready to talk about indoor composting, which we call vermicomposting. Vermi refers to the worms, and this is a type of composting done by worms, red wiggler worms. So I happen to be starting a worm bin today, so I thought it'd be nice for you to join us and see how you could do the same thing. You need a bin to start with, made of wood, metal, or plastic. I got this plastic bin. This, if I fill it up to here, probably would hold enough to take care of the scraps from 3 or 4 or 5 people. And it doesn't have to be this deep to be a worm bin. 1 foot is enough because the worms we use only stay in the top 8 inches of soil. They don't go down really deep. That's the beauty of red wiggler worms. So I got this compost bin. I'm just using a hand drill. I'm not sure if you can see, but I put holes in the top because worms do need air. And they don't have lungs, they breathe through their skin, but they do need air. So there's, I think, 8 holes. You could put more in. And then in the top of, and the bottom of this bin, I put more holes, really, really tiny ones. I used a smaller bit on my hand drill. And I've got about 14 holes here. And that is because the compost tea, that's going to kind of sit in the bottom of this compost bin and just sit there. And so you want to use it. So what you do is find a big pan, put it on there, and then the compost tea will drip into the pan. And then, every couple of weeks, you can take it, or you can let it get deep if you want, and then use it for your plants. Always make it 10 parts water to 1 part compost tea, or it'll burn your plants. The compost tea is very strong. The next thing you want to do is have some bedding for the worms. This is compressed core bedding for plants. You soak these in water and you let them, the core expands. And I have 2 of them that I soaked overnight. And here is the bedding finished. And this, just like your outdoor compost, should be damp, but not wet. So it should be like a sponge that you have squeezed out. Okay, so now we've got our bin with holes in the bottom. We've got our bedding in here, just perfectly moist. And now we're going to put some worms in, and I should have a good 1 pound to 2 pounds of red wiggler worms here. I'm going to put them in. Oh, there they are. Oh, they're going to come to life. There they are. Now we want to give them their food. Here's my compost bucket. They like pretty much the same things that you put in your outdoor bin, but most of it's going to be kitchen scraps. So look, I have banana peel that I cut up, and some apple core, some peel from squash we had last night. I put them in, but now I want to bury them, because here's the other thing about the worms. They like it dark. That's why I have a dark bin. Do not get a see-through bin, because they'll stay in the middle all the time. And they'll actually starve, because if you put the food around different places, they'll only eat what you put in the middle. So get a dark bin. Don't keep it in the sun, whatever you do. And then bury the food so they can find it. What you do when you want to change the bedding. In 3 to 6 months, if your worms have been eating normally and you've been giving them food every day or 2, you get in your bin, push everything to one side, and put new bedding in the side that you've emptied. And in the new bedding, that's where you're going to put your food now. The worms, after a week or so, will all be over on that side, and then you can take the bedding out and use it in the garden. If the first few days after you get your worms, if they start climbing the walls, it's because they're a little disoriented. So what you do is leave the lid off, put a bright light over it, and then they'll understand they're supposed to go down, not up. And they will. So they tell me. I think they will. I haven't had trouble with worm farms and or worm bins. So if you do, you can always write in to info@greetergrove.org.